Hey, it's Thursday, time for another Action Figure Adventures video here on SEO Toy Review. Today, Baby Skeletor and I are taking a look at a G.I. Joe Collectors Club exclusive figure. It's Slaughter Marauders Low-Light. Slaughter's Marauders was a line of repainted G.I. Joe action figures. It was a cheap way for Hasbro to put some new figures on the pegs, but a great way for kids to pick up characters they missed out on the first time. Low-Light is a night spotter, aka a sniper. Low-Light was a character who was sorely missed on the Night Force sub-team, although his color swap probably wouldn't have been that different than his original one, so the Slaughter's Marauders figure gives you a little bit more colorful version, really, than his original figure. Hasbro did release a Slaughter Marauder-inspired figure in the modern era, but he was not an exact repaint, or was not as close to the original Slaughter's Marauder figure as you could get. So the club later on went back and released Barbecue and Low-Light a second time, much more accurate to their original figures. And these guys corresponded nicely with the Slaughter's Marauders club exclusive set from the very final Joe-Con. Low-Light is considered figure 2 of the final 12 characters from the Collectors Club. You can pause it here to read his bio. Here we've got Slaughter's Marauders Low-Light out of the package. And right off the bat, I gotta say, he is a really great figure, first impression-wise. But he does have a huge advantage that he's based on the Pursuit of Cobra Low-Light figure, which is considered one of the best figures Hasbro's ever released for the G.I. Joe line. He doesn't come with all the accessories that the Pursuit of Cobra figure came with. That's probably a cost-cutting method, but this figure does come with enough accessories to make him very accurate to that original Slaughter's Marauders vintage figure. Starting with his head, Low-Light has a blue knit cap on top of his head. He has a pair of goggles with blue lenses on those. Those goggles are removable, which is not something that the original figure could do, but it's definitely a nice feature for a modern era figure. Some people might choose to put them on top of his head. I like to keep his head covered, his eyes covered, because the original figure always had his visor on. Below that, he's got a brown vest with a blue shoulder pad. It has a few other details, but it looks really perfect. His head articulation is hindered by the collar on that, which is kind of unfortunate, but, you know, it is what it is. His arms are a brighter green. They have some brown and dark green details to them. He has great range of motion at the shoulders. He has elbow joints, wrist articulations, and his wrists actually pivot out, which is handy for trying to pose him with his sniper rifle. I did actually use a heat gun or a hairdryer to loosen up this elbow. I don't know why, but it was super tight out of the package, and I was worried about breaking it. It's not usually a problem with G.I. Joe figures. Oh, interesting, he does not have the wrist rocker on this wrist that he has over here. This vest is removable. I never take these things off my figures because I find them really hard to put back on, but it does look like his torso is painted partly green and partly brown, which is kind of interesting. Below that, we get down to his pants. He's got dark green pants with a light green stripe and a dark brown stripe at the bottom, and his black boots. He has amazing range of motion at the hips. He's got double jointed knees. I like the little knee pads there. And then he has articulation at the ankles as well. So a very nicely articulated figure. Additionally, on his legs, he has a holster that actually works for a knife here. And he has a piece that can hold a sight for his sniper rifle. This is a really neat thing because this is a perfect tribute to his original figure, who had a little bracket there on his leg. I love this detail, and this is the kind of stuff that makes that original Pursuit of Cobra Low-Light one of the best figures in the whole line. For accessories, Low-Light comes with a large backpack. This is made out of a very rubbery material. It has the Slaughter's Marauder logo on it and some blue paint apps, which is very nice. It has a peg on the side here that no accessories peg onto for him because this is a reuse. It can open up and you can put things inside it, which I think is really cool, especially because he does come with a little bit more gear than he can hold. The downside of this backpack is that because it's rubbery, this peg moves very easy, and that makes it hard to peg it on him. It's kind of a complaint I have with the modern era G.I. Joes. The backpacks are not as interchangeable and are not as easy to peg on as the old vintage ones. And I think that's kind of a shame, because as a kid, I loved gearing guys up with different people's gear and things like that. And you can't put a backpack on everybody, and the pegs just are not as smooth of an action as they used to be. Low-Light comes with this little GPS device. Not a accessory his vintage figure came with, but it was part of his Pursuit of Cobra figure. Probably this was on the same mold as one of the other weapons, so it was included because it didn't really add additional cost. Surprising, it does have a paint app, which does add cost to these kind of things. Low-Light comes with a black Uzi, which is very accurate to his original figure, and a fun weapon to give him for, fast cover fire and getting in and out of trouble. And then, of course, he comes with his sniper rifle, which is the important accessory for the Night Spotter. It has a removable suppressor. It has a removable bipod. It doesn't really seem to fold, but it can come off. Maybe it... Oh, it does fold. Okay, you can fold that up, because the original figure had a folding bipod. It also has a stock that can extend, which is really cool. And then it has the peg holes right here to attach that sight that's on his leg. It's pretty incredible. Low-Light also comes with a figure stand with his name on it. It looks slightly bronzy. This doesn't look quite as black as the stands normally do. It's almost a charcoal or a brown. I'm not sure if that's just my eyes right now. I also think it's really interesting to note that this one has a slight stress mark on the peg straight out of the package, which again is like an odd anomaly. I am often critical of the figures put out by the G.I. Joe Collectors Club because many figures are cheap reuses of parts. This figure is a total repaint, but the original figure that it's based on was a total repaint, so I can't complain about that at all. I do really love his accessories and the crazy amount of detail in them. That's part of the beauty of those Pursuit of Cobra lines. They are a little bit fiddly though, which is a downside if you want to think of these figures as toys and playability. As collector items, who cares? It's awesome the amount of detail in them. So my real only complaint is that I cannot put this backpack on him. I've tried and tried and tried. The hole in his vest and the hole in his back are very tiny. The peg is very rubbery. And I just can't make it happen. So that's my one point of frustration. In the comments down below, let me know if you have the Pursuit of Cobra version of Low-Light, and if you lost the bullet immediately. I'm still a little heartbroken about that. Thanks for watching this Action Figure Adventures video. Do Baby Skeletor a favor, hit that like and subscribe button.